Reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at Life is Strange, Before the Storm, and Life is Strange. Plus theories. Come follow me. You know, welcome back. Like, it's been a long time. Life is Strange. Since I was, last broadcasted on YouTube. So, I'm thankful, I'm able to broadcast here on YouTube, going live. So, Life is Strange sets up the story, as, Chloe Price's story, how she became the punk rocker Chloe. You know what I'm saying? Just, bruh, she was actually rebellious from the get go. So I mean, like it wasn't really nothing new until she met Rachel Ambers, and then everything changed. Rachel was just it basically sets up like Chloe's life before she met Rachel, and then after she met Rachel, and just the things that went on with it. But before we get into that, like the it's this bonus episode called Farewell, where her and Max they just chilling, and she's getting ready to move, and like just yeah, she's getting ready to move, and like I shouldn't have to like describe it. Like it pops up every time, like before you play the game, choice based game. Like like now I see why people, other YouTubers be like, hey, your choices don't matter in this game. Cause eventually they don't. Like you could choose to like the whole farewell, a bonus episode that was purely made to like, hey, you can either tell, tell young Chloe, like, hey, I'm moving, or just keep it to her, keep it to yourself, and not tell her. But ultimately it was like ultimately like Max wasn't even the villain of the story. Sure, she, you could choose to not tell Chloe that you're moving to Seattle, but ultimately it came down to the parents, because the parents, they ain't really like her, Chloe. Like they ain't really like Max hanging out with Chloe, because they, thought she was a bad influence on Maxine. So therefore, they would, they just was like, hey, you know, we gonna move you without telling you, you know, we gonna rip you away from the only that one person, that one person that just that you have bonded with, and that act, that one act was the catalyst that brought, made Chloe the punk rocker, no fucks given person that she is today. So, fast forward, we meet Rachel Ambers, and, Rachel, she's, in the drama club at, Blackwell Academy, So, at Blackwell Academy, they actually, link up and meet up, and, they go on adventures. She's, like, she's basically asking, Chloe to like, hey, could you want to, hang out and ditch or whatnot? And Chloe, like, she basically goes along with it. Like, the tale of the Tempest, like, come on, like it's the tale of the Tempest. It's just like it's some metaphors in there for like tales of the Tempest, but I don't really quite know myself, so I'm not gonna get into all the details of that. Just know, like with how everything between Chloe and Rachel, like some really wasn't off. Some was off. It wasn't clicking in Chloe's head. Like I know you wanna, blame everybody for your problems and whatnot, Chloe, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, like she ain't really Rachel's not really perfect herself, you know. So, but anyway, that's besides the point. Once, they play hooky or whatever and go to the park, they, play this weird game where they, spy on people and think of like what the people, down below would think, you know, they stumble across Rachel Amber's dad kissing some random woman. Turns out, it's the random woman gonna be revealed, sooner than you think. In episode 2. Um and so Rachel flips on her like that and like, oh, and her dad is the district attorney. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. You know, they go bottle of wine or liquor, they get drunk, then that's when like feelings come out. Chloe, admits to like having feelings for Rachel. Rachel, she's like, hey, I like that, but like, you know, I want to, but like it just, not right now. And so like basically comes back in like the night and like burns a photo of her dad and like sets up like a full forest fire. A full forest fire, okay? A full forest fire, fam. Like, and then like this where the theory comes in. I do believe that Rachel had some form of powers. Honestly, because like first of all, like how you have that much of a high pitched scream, and then like first of all, how you make a forest fire that big, and then as soon as something happened to you, the fire automatically go out. Like, come on, bro. Like, so, and also like she basically gave her powers to somebody else, but that's besides the point. That's besides the point. After all of that, they go back to her house, Rachel Amber's house. They're having a nice meal with, Rachel's family, this, that, and the third. Um, Here, everything gets exposed. Everything gets exposed. Rachel runs upstairs. Chloe runs after her, comforts her with, the galaxy projector, that you could buy on Amazon. Yes, there's a galaxy projector that you could buy on Amazon. I looked it up, what I'm saying? Because, who wouldn't want a galaxy projector? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, she's determined to, meet her biological mother, you know, uh, Mr. Ambers, the district attorney, you know, you told him the backstory about that, what happened. I was like, okay, cool, that's cool. But like, but anyway, yeah. So Chloe takes it upon herself to go, detective mode and find this woman. Okay, find this woman. Like instead of leaving it alone and be like, okay, cool. all right, cool. She goes about her own way and does it through, trial and error, and like the district attorney, like then that's when like they link up with, Chloe's, drug dealer to get information about, the whereabouts of, you know, Rachel's biological mom. She, she gets stabbed by, one of the drug dealers. And so, the hunt still continues. Here's the thing. Here is the thing. Like, here's it turns out if she finally finds Chloe's biological mother, and they start talking, not before, Frank, Chloe's drug dealer, and Damon Merrick, you know the dude that the district attorney, Rachel's father paid to,
Hey,
yep,
come see.
keep quiet, and hold that thought, hold that thought.
I brought home stuff from school. 1 soap, 2 soap, 3 soap, 4 sanitizer, shower curtain, and a whole lot more. Okay, don't you use up all of them. I use up a whole bunch of whole hand soap, but it's put them on the hill. I got some more cleaning products for that from college and a shower supplier. Okay, because that was good. Yeah, you see how it's rusty? That's brand new. But 1 soap, 2 soap, 3 soap, 4. Next time I ain't here. You like that? Yeah, I killed that. I don't know. Not 6 ago.
I love you.
I'm still not a science guy. Next.
Okay, I'm back. So, basically, Damon Merritt, he shoots, Rachel's mom up with, some substance, and like Frank gets into it with Damon Merrick, and we'll see them for, quite like we'll see Damon for like the rest of the game. Like he just got out the way like real quick. But anyway, basically it was a back and forth thing between Chloe and Rachel's mom about like, hey, just keep this hidden, don't tell her why that I'm here, this, that, and the third. She was like, hey, don't tell her that I'm here, this, that, and the third. um Chloe's trying to convince her, like, hey, she needs to see you. She, go and get closure. Just, let her see you. And so, like, again, life is strange. The choices that don't matter in this game. You can either choose to choose to tell Rachel the truth, or choose to keep it to yourself. Keep her happy and content. You choose to tell her the truth, she gonna hate, her dad in the game, and just, this, that, and the third. All right, moving on. Theory time for Life is Strange Before the Storm. Okay, here's why I say like. Here's why I say Rachel had power, right? How else do in the point of the game, okay, where she set the forest fire, right? She had a super scream. You see it, and it intensified. She basically passed on her powers to, Maxine Caulfield, her best friend, from, the farewell bonus episode. And like the fire metaphors in this game, like crazy, because like in the dream sequences, you get a mention of them twice. Like by the ghost of William, he's like, hey, fire could be wild, but magnificent if you can't, but just be careful, it could be dangerous. And like it was actually referring to Rachel all along, because she is the daughter of the district DA, and she was able to manipulate Chloe into doing all these things just for her own benefit. So it just at the towards the start of a good chunk of Life is Strange, she cuts out and bails on her, and she's actually, and also you know plus like the crow was Chloe's spirit animal, here to bring wisdom and guidance to her, whether it be now or future events. And the doe is actually supposed to represent Rachel, because that's her spirit animal. Moving on, like she. Oh, and one thing about Rachel's powers, immediately after she gets stabbed by Damon Merrick for trying to acquire information about her mom. Like there's a scene in the hospital where if you can overhear like two firemen talking, and they say mysteriously that the fire was extinguished. That further lets me know that Rachel has powers. Okay. Okay. Also, like the crow is like a metaphor, could be like interpreted as Chloe's spirit animal, because it could bring knowledge, or it could also bring misfortune. I forgot to mention that, but moving on, like now we come to Life is Strange. Life is Strange. We meet Maxine Caulfield. She came back 5 years later to Blackwell Academy, where on a scholarship. Much like how Chloe was. She was on a scholarship, but she like like Chloe basically messed up the scholarship. So I mean, like it is what it is. We meet Maxine Caulfield, a photographer, just like me, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm a photographer in my own way. I'm a photographer, you know. I take pictures of nature, just places, the beach, stuff like that. I'm just, hanging out, taking pictures of, yeah, nature, flowers, stuff like that. Anyway, she's she's so shy, quiet, timid, and she just keeps to herself. She is afraid to, enter her photo in the Everyday Hero contest to go to San Francisco. Um, I'm sorry, but it's either New York or San Francisco. But anyway, she goes to the bathroom to wash her face, sees a blue haired girl and this guy named Nathan Prescott. Um, you know, they get into an argument. Nathan like pulls up with a gun. He was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Just hey, why you hassling me? And shoots her. Then that's when like Max has the ability to rewind time, and so hey, long story short, they go into this. They go into much like how back with Chloe and Rachel. They go on Scooby Doo adventures and try to play detective mode, and it's side missions or whatnot to need to be handled and whatnot, and side choices and stuff like that. Shenanigans, which actually, I mean, then we get a very very deep. Then we get to it's 5 episodes. 5 episodes. Okay, so after we learn of Max's time travel powers, the first thing that Chloe wants to do is test out her rewind powers and do all these dumb things. Do all of these dumb things. Just as, to test out, Max's rewind powers. Basically using her for her rewind powers and guilt tripping her for leaving her for 5 years. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like Chloe does not have anything to be mad at. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sure, her supposed best friend like moved on, moved away for 5 years without a card, a letter, or a phone call. That was actually courtesy of the parents, because like she didn't do that. She didn't do that on her own. Her parents did. It's not her fault. What is the fault is that Rachel did the same thing. Okay. And it's actually like it's not justified at all. How you gonna get mad at Max for basically doing the same thing that Rachel did to you? Max had no control over the situation at all. It just, yeah. So basically, we spent a good chunk of the majority of the time like goofing off with Chloe, saving Kate Marsh from, suicide, because, like something is going on, with her and Blackwell. You got, the Vortex party, coming up. Yeah, it turns out like, turns out like Nathan has been working with somebody over the scenes, within the scenes to like try to, yeah, he's been working with somebody in his own twisted way. Turns out, one thing that I didn't really like in, in the game, which was actually a good little nod to, a future episode, I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna get into it later. But yeah, just it's an amazing game. Turns out and like once you figure out you you basically sneak in, break into Frank's RV and uncover the secret of why what really happened to Rachel and Frank, Chloe's drug dealer. Like they were hooking up, they were doing the nasty, they were you know they were together. And this pisses off Chloe, so she goes on a rant, and Max tries to calm her down. So Max goes back in time to when they were kids using a photo, and she saves William. But in the process, she alters time itself to a point where she's in the Vortex Club. She's friends with Victoria Chase, and her clique, and Chloe is paralyzed. Okay, so, and with all that being said, like all these weird occurrences, start happening, like snow, even though like it's 80 degrees, and like an eclipse, happens, and like beached whales just wash up on the shore, so they were actually, just chilling, her and Chloe again. The they were just chilling again. Long story short, Chloe asks Max, to put her out of her misery, like, hey, just crank up my IV to 11, like, just the morphine is not gonna kill me, my respiratory system is gonna kill me because it's failing me, hey, just put me out of my misery, just what I'm saying. Then again, here's where they mess. Here's where Don't Nod and Square Enix and Life is Strange, because bruh, like really, like the thing that made me upset about this, again, the choices really don't matter in this game. Like you could choose one or the other of said choices, but ultimately what your choices make don't really amount to anything. Like you don't like it's really glossed over in like the exact same episode. Like, oh, a major event happened. Oh, okay, well, poof, let's gloss over this like it didn't happen. In your mind, in our minds, the players, the people who are playing the game, it's still going on in our minds. So, it's one thing that I really didn't understand about this game, and still don't understand about this game. Like, with hardcore themes and sprinkled in this game. Anyway, she goes back to her timeline and tells Chloe about the stuff, like everything that has happened. She's still hell bent on killing like Nathan Prescott. Little does she know that Nathan Prescott is dead. And so they find Rachel Amber's body, and they have a sad moment. Oh, and they Max saves um Kate Marsh from suicide. That's very important. Um, so the hardest part for me playing the game was convincing like Chloe Price that I have rewind powers. Like, first of all, what a horrible character. Like, if she ain't changed within like Life is Strange 2 Before the Storm, I know she wasn't gonna change. Like, yeah, I knew she wasn't gonna change within, the course of Life is Strange. And then, like, bruh. Anyway, she gets shot and then dies. She gets, Max gets drugged by Mark Jefferson, her photography teacher. He was the one, with the whole bunch of binders towards the end of the montage of Life is Strange 2 Before the Storm at the end of the game. So, we basically have to do our rewind powers and, do all of that and travel back in time, this, that, and third. Yeah, so by the end of the game, there's a nightmare sequence, and then the big storm happens where Max comes to the realization, like, hey, maybe it's my fault. Maybe, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I'm the storm. When, then we get like this crucial, sob story from Chloe, like, hey, you've always been here for me, this, that, and the third, and like, hey, like you've gotten these powers, you came back to me this week, you've shown me nothing but your love and kindness, throughout my many fuck ups throughout this game. You've actually used your rewind powers to save me multiple times. Like maybe it's my destiny to like die. Hurricane, and they actually like. Here's where like Life is Strange messed up. Like they gave you the option. They give you the option to kill sacrifice Chloe, or sacrifice the town of Arcadia Bay. I'm sorry, but like, I'm sorry, but Chloe has done nothing but like manipulate and guilt trip and, and victim blame everybody for her problems throughout the game. Now that she's come to a full realization, like, hey, maybe, maybe it's all me, maybe this, that, and the third, maybe it's all me, maybe I blame people for my problems, this, that, and the third, all that stuff. Maybe I was supposed to get taken out by the storm. Maybe I'm supposed to get taken out by the storm. Sorry. Yeah. Through my first playthrough, I had no problems pressing that X button or, square button and sacrificing Chloe. Because, first of all, that was her destiny. It was hinted at in the game, okay? It was hinted at in the game. So, yeah, basically, like, and plus, Rachel was the storm anyway. Like, she basically was and or is the storm in Life is Strange. How else? Like, she's been wanting to leave, with her and Chloe for some time now. So, like, come on, like, and then they have like the nerve to give me like another choice, like, hey, sacrifice, Arcadia Bay. Arcadia Bay ain't do shit to me. Like, why would I want to sacrifice Arcadia Bay? Arcadia Bay ain't do shit to me. Like, bruh, if it's for the greater good, why am I going to sacrifice like Arcadia Bay when like the person that I'm sacrificing is right there. Like she even said it. She was like, "Hey, my destiny is to like die in the storm. Like, hey, you can use." She even gave her photo of the butterfly that Maxine took. She was like, "Hey, you can use that photo. Just go back. And don't forget me. Whatever you do, don't forget me." And like you can tell, like Maxine didn't want to go through it, but she went through it anyway. Like, bruh, like, come on. I had no problems doing that my first playthrough at all. Because if you think about it, everything that led up to this moment, like Chloe, like was on some like whatever. Like Chloe was just up for bull this entire episode, like the entire from start to episode 1 all the way to 5. She was just up to bull. She was just, and then like towards the end of it, she basically accepted her fate and acknowledged all the wrong that she did. Like, just, which is fine, but like, it's a little too late for that. You've had like 5 episodes to get it right. Now, on the four at the most, like, just 4 at the most, okay? Episode 4, you could have just completely did a 180. From stealing the handicap fund money at Blackwell Academy to like, oh, spoiler alert, if you steal the money from, Blackwell Academy for the handicap fund, you still get, if you steal the money from, Blackwell Academy to pay off, your drug debt to Frank, Chloe's drug debt to Frank, and Life is Strange, nothing happens to you. But if you steal the drug money, the money from Frank, if you don't steal the money from if you don't steal the money to pay off the handicap fund, if you don't take the money to pay your drug debt to Frank, you get paralyzed and become handicapped yourself. But if you do steal the money from the handicap fund at Blackwell, nothing happens to you. So it's a lose-lose situation. That's the little Easter egg that I have for you on that one. For that secret. Those of you who played the game. I've actually played both of them, both games, Before the Storm and Life is Strange. Like, and then if you do choose to sacrifice Arcadia Bay, like her, Chloe and Max, they drive out of Arcadia Bay, basically killing everybody in Arcadia Bay. I don't know if they Blackwell like is included in that. I'm gonna just chalk it up and say like the people in Blackwell Academy, they survive. Okay. But if y'all are, the small percentage of those who, are like me, who sacrificed Chloe Elizabeth Price, in the game to, cease the hellstorm of the tornado, the butterfly effect, to just stop all the death and destruction caused by the tornado and the vision. Like, I'm not gonna say good on you, but like, I'm not gonna say good on you or congratulate you, but just know, like, it's gonna leave you like feeling differently. I know, cause it made me feel differently. Like, but all in all, it was a good, game. Like like Life is Strange, Before the Storm, and Life is Strange are basically those two games that I don't mind playing. I don't mind replaying, or hell, or even watching. Life is Strange, the movie gameplay, no commentary. Like, it was just and it was just so. It was a roller coaster of emotions. It took you up, and then it brought you back down, and took you up, brought you back down. My favorite character out of all of them was Kate Marsh, because like she was just like a positive person, like real positive. Even though, like, what I'm saying, it had like core themes in it, like suicide, drugs, all of that. But all in all, the games were like flames, like real flames. Like, plus, like, it makes you think, like, what I'm saying, like, what would you do if you really had those, rewind powers or time travel powers? Like, bruh, like, what I'm saying, like, bruh, like, me personally, if I had those time travel powers or rewind powers, like, it wouldn't have been a problem for me. Like, bro, for real, I get so much done. Like, cleaning up around the house, not gonna be a problem. You know what I'm saying? Just, oh, I'm late for work. Okay, let me just go ahead and rewind for just a little bit. Come on, man. But like, anyway, this actually was uh one of the to me one of the best games I've ever played. Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. Like, oh, and there's actually a Easter egg between Chloe and Rachel within Life is Strange True Colors. It's not a physical cameo, but it's an Easter egg in there. Anyway, this has been my theory of slash Life is Strange 2 Before the Storm and Life is Strange game review slash my theories about the game. I've been your host, 2017 Red Ranger. I will see y'all in the next video for more reviews.